Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Anna-Maria Heidinger, responsible for the Digital Innovation Hub at Daiichi Sankyo. And although I am already 2 years in the pharma industry right now, I still feel like a newbie in this industry. And this got confirmed in the last 2 days because most of you have been in this industry for years and years and years. So feel free to challenge me on my outside-in perspective of this industry. And I also want to start with an analogy. I'm German, and we are super proud of our automotive industry. We think we produce the best automotives in the world. Yes, there is Asian competition in terms of volume, but not really in quality. But if you kind of looked at the IAA this year, you get a glimpse into the potential future. China is the second largest exporter of automotives right now, pushing Germany to the 3rd place. Electric cars are becoming the benchmark of the industry, which is a driver for China, while Germany is still figuring out how to deal with this new reality. So, and regardless of which fuel our cars will use in the future, software is playing a more and more increasing role in this industry. The number of services in and around our product is increasing. So who wants to drive an electric car that does not tell you where's the next available charging station? What if your car would kind of consider all the preferences of your passengers in the car and select the recreation area that does not only have the available charging station, but also some playground for your kids? And I mean, this is all done by the manufacturers, right? They are doing this mostly in close collaborations with partners. So many have started to go one step beyond the product and are actually looking into how to build mobility concepts where the product becomes less relevant in the overall service. So why should I take a car when I need to go to work, which is 5 kilometers away, and there's a charged e-bike nearby and the streets are busy anyways? Why do I need a car when my car is parked the majority of time either in my garage or in the garage of my employer, and there is an autonomous driving opportunity that costs me a fraction of the taxi costs that there are at the moment? So, is this the future of automotive? This is the wrong conference to discuss that, I know. But the point I want to make is automotive manufacturers are confronted with a changing reality. They need to rethink their USPs and which role they want to play in these changing industries. Of course, they can think about how they sell their products in the future and more virtual. But probably it's rather about thinking what role they play in this industry. So why the heck am I telling you this at our next Pharma conference? Because I'm a rookie to this industry, and I want to raise the very naive question: what can pharma learn from this industry shift towards solutions? Because it's not only the automotive industry that is doing that. It's actually an overall trend that you see through agriculture, through technology, through medical devices. Everybody is kind of moving towards solutions. And can pharma really stick to the very product-focused business model we have at the moment? Or let me raise this question differently. What is our ambition as a pharma company? Do we really stick to just selling our drugs versus solving our often much more complex customer needs? Customer needs, let's talk about that. When I ask my colleagues who's the customer, and 80% of that responses, they are referred to the HCP. And this makes sense. We spend millions in kind of drug development, and we need to make sure that our drugs finally reach our patients. And often in this game, the HCP plays a gatekeeper role. So the answer makes sense, and a lot of our efforts goes into solving HCP needs around the product we provide. And I guess we heard about all of that, right? Modular content, omnichannel, providing the information at the right point of time. All very correct. So yes, we are adjusting to the customer needs when we consider HCPs as our main customers. But are we truly solving a customer need by providing information to prescribe our drugs with confidence? Is this pure subscription of the drug providing sustainable value to our society? When do we, as Pharma, consider our business as successful? By convincing HCPs to prescribe our drugs? Or by making sure our drugs reach the patients in need, they are consumed by the patients in need, and they deliver the outcome also in a real-world setting? What if we would broaden our definition of success beyond maximizing subscriptions? And what if we would look at KPIs that would indicate patient outcomes and that would reduce treatment costs overall? What if we would not only look at the interaction around our drugs, but look at the whole patient journey of our drugs and identify the flaws within? So let's be specific. I'm working for Daiichi Sankyo, Japanese company active in the area of cardiovascular oncology, which both indications are accountable for about 62% of all deaths worldwide. And we as a company, we set the goal to transform from a pharma company into a healthcare company. And even though we are still figuring out what this exactly means, for me it's completely clear we search for providing value beyond our drugs. The patients we are supporting in the CV area are often asymptomatic and they are chronic. So getting them on the right medication is only part of the game. To ensure successful therapy, they need to stick to their treatment, which is actually the major endeavor for silent disease such as dyslipidemia. And on the other hand, there is about 25% of patients with atrial fibrillation over the age of 65 who are asymptomatic. So this means they do not even get access to the treatment that would save them from a major incident. So one of the use cases we did is we looked at the pathway of AF fibrillation in the UK. And as you can see, this is a messy process. It involves various steps, redundancies, long waiting times. So in the end, it's a lengthy process, it's super costly, and because of that, it's limited to patients that do show symptoms. So we're not covering the ones asymptomatic. What we did in a consortium with NHS, various tech players, is to try to improve this process in terms of making it cheaper and making it faster, so we can provide it to a larger share of population. Patients at risk, they get kind of contacted. They can use via an app, the flash of their phone, to get a detection of potential arrhythmias. This is kind of screened. Patients at risk that kind of ran through this first circle, they get a batch sent. So we measure the ECG. We kind of look at the results centrally, and only those that really show a risk of AF and have a confirmed risk of AF, for these patients, we do an appointment at a GP. What does this mean? This provides value for the NHS because we are reducing the overall healthcare costs for AF detection. We are providing value to the patients because we allow a larger patient population to be screened because it's much more cost effective. And we are also providing value to the poor HCPs, which we heard are closely to burnout, because we're not filling up their offices with a lot of patients that actually do not have AF. This is working especially well if you have a product in the market that kind of benefits from it a little bit. So I'm super curious if we will stick to this value-creating use case, even if our product is out of exclusivity. And this is the big question for pharma, I guess. Another use case, whereas for CV patients, adherence is a big topic, it's less of a problem for oncology patients. For cancer patients with the diagnosis, most of the patients' lives turn upside down. And their diagnosis is accompanied in 60% of the cases with psychological difficulties. But the availability of psycho-oncology therapists, at least in Germany, is super limited. So what we did is we teamed up with Prosomer, an app that is providing psycho-oncology support, additional psycho-oncology support for patients. And what we are doing there is we're combining the best of two worlds, right? An evidence-based digital solution for improving the mental health of our patients, together with our pharma sales force to provide access to this solution. And what does that bring for the patient? The outcome is quite clear. They get a more holistic solution in a very difficult time of their life. And that does not only provide the right medicine, but really tries to cater them on a broader scale. And I loved what Lily is doing. I guess this is going in the same direction. But also for us, this is interesting because we are engaging with our customers, the HCP, on a different level. We can talk about new things, not only our therapy, and we did run joint CME trainings together with the partner, which get a really high interest. So it allows our salespeople to talk about something else. So let's be honest. Daiichi Sankyo definitely is not a front runner in digital health. And probably all of you have these from normal business, very isolated cases running around in your organizations. For me, what makes the difference is that we just formulated a very inspiring vision that challenges our core business model a bit. And very honest, pharma is a huge and very profitable industry. And I want to raise the question, shouldn't we have a social responsibility in reshaping these very deficient healthcare systems to ensure a sustainable, healthy society for the future? So let's start with real customer centricity by looking beyond our products and raise the question how can we identify more patients? How can we enable shared decision making? How can we drive behavioral change of our patients? And by raising such questions, our current products become only part of the solution, of a bigger solution, very similar as in the automotive industry. Is this an easy journey? Hell no. So for those of you who kind of face similar challenges, here are my 5 cents of learning within the 2 years of Pharma. So don't give up easily. Convincing a marketing department that their product is only part of the solution and probably not exclusively, it's not an easy task and it requires a long-term perspective. What really helped us is to choose use cases that do have an impact on current business, just to overcome initial barriers and kind of educate the organization. Second, initial kicking off a use case and is easy, and because pharma has deep pockets and mostly we can kind of finance a pilot. The really difficult part is kind of scaling such solutions, because you need to create win-win situations for all of the stakeholders involved, and mostly the business model differs greatly from that of pharma. So you need to figure out how the detection thing that I showed you would work in a non-drug related setup. And probably these business models are less profitable than the current pharma one. With entering the digital health space, you need different skill sets. So you need to understand care pathways in the different markets you're acting in. You need to kind of understand reimbursement systems and opportunities. You are much often closer to the regulation of medical devices than pharma regulation. So all of this kind of often overstains the existing organization, so be prepared for headwind. And what we did is we also decided to go a partnering approach, because building up these skill sets and building up these experiences just takes a while, and it's exhausting, I can tell you. So we're doing a lot with partners that bring in that expertise and help us drive that way. Yes, and this is my amazing team, because I love to challenge our success. Failure is not fatal. I guess we had it, failing forward, and it's the courage to continue. Thank you. Questions? We have 3 minutes.
Thanks very much. Hi there, Anna. I absolutely love this. This is talking to my heart. One of the questions that I've got, because I think often farmers shied away from things like this, like how do we make a business out of this? And I can see so many opportunities. My question to you is, are you looking, and I guess how are you looking at that operating model side of things to get all of these great insights, all of this data through to other areas of the business to improve product innovation, drive new products, drive new services, all the way from R&D and throughout the life cycle of the value chain?
So good question. So I'm not quite sure if I can answer it, because the thing is that I'm working majorly for the commercial part of our organization. So I would love, because I guess I really believe the impact of digital technology is much more tangible in R&D processes, clinical trials, where you can really speed up processes and kind of change the pharma model per se, but I'm not doing that. I'm only looking at the commercial side, which is how more complicated, because the business models are not clear. And I mean, I would love if you find anybody who figured out, like, how do we really get that? I guess it's market access for me is getting a quite new role, because we need to build these coalitions with payers, with healthcare systems, with big clinic chains to kind of find a solution, and we need to create win-win situations. And I think pharma can do the ramp-up investment because we have the money and we can prove that there is value generation, but for scaling, we need to kind of get these business models figured out, and I don't have a general answer to that, and if you find anybody who has it, I'm happy to hear it. Does it answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
Slightly related question. Also love both examples. It's kind of obvious how the managed service might support product uptake. The Prosoma example, if we're valuing patient outcomes, and which is what we're talking about a lot here, then you can see there's a clear impact and benefit. I know you probably can't answer the question of what's the actual commercial KPI that you measure with this, for example, the Prosoma, but what is your wish or your hope that this will do in terms of building better relationships, or that will lead to some kind of commercial benefit for the company?
So we are actually working with value clusters for kind of getting our business on the ideas we're kind of bringing in there. And I guess there are different value classes. There is, of course, indirect revenue. If you tackle like identification of patients or adherence topic, you mostly have an indirect revenue stream, probably not directly on your product, but you're making the cake bigger, right? And the second one is, and we need to we're in the process of defining KPIs, is the engagement KPIs. Because, I mean, our portfolio is limited, and I always wonder, what do you talk about with the customer all the time, right? And is the customer interested in kind of getting another information about your product, or would he be interested in kind of also understanding a little bit what's around that? Because he's not coming from a product perspective. He's coming from this patient perspective and treatment option perspective. And wouldn't it be kind of helping us to really position, and I guess we had this talk about how do we become a partner of our HCPs, wouldn't it put us in a partner position if we do not only talk about our products, but everything that is around that? Yeah, good. Thank you.